Hey guys, what's up? It's your host, Lizzy Jane, and we have KLAXX joining me on the podcast today. He is an up and coming rising producer from California. He's been supported by some of the largest names in dance music, and he has his debut album coming out on bitbird this fall. He spun a crazy exclusive guest mix for my show yesterday on Insomniac Radio that happens every Wednesday on the Impact channel at 4 p.m. Pacific time, where I sit down with some of my podcast guests. You hear a little bit of this full conversation, and we do an album playthrough or an EP playthrough. I get a mini mix or an exclusive guest mix spun by them, and that mix was crazy. So if you missed it yesterday, hopefully he will put it up on his SoundCloud. He has another single coming out in just 1 week on the 19th, and that is going to be the next single from his album. He's got a collab with Holo on there. We talk about his roots, his attendance at Icon, RIP, and everything in between, inspirations, working with other artists such as Yep and many more. And yeah, it was a lovely conversation. I'm really glad we had the chance to talk, and I'm excited for his album coming out in just a few months on bitbird. If you love what we're doing here, please, we just spread by organic word of mouth. Tag an upcoming DJ, producer, someone that you think could learn from these conversations. Share, subscribe, rate us on Spotify. Literally anything that you can do will always help the growth of the podcast. You are tuning into the Lizzy Jane podcast, and today we have special guest KLAXX on the line.
Thanks for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Everything's good. Just been trying to finish my album and I'm actually going to Japan this Saturday, so I've just been prepping for that too.
No way. Why are you
Just
going
been
to
living.
Japan? Where are you going?
Just for a vacation. I've never been to Japan, and it's been like one of the my bucket list places to visit because I'm just like I love the culture. I love Japanese food, obviously, so it's gonna be like surreal being there.
Absolutely. That's going to be so
Yeah.
sick. We actually have my boyfriend and I have a trip planned we're going to go snowboarding and we're going to go to Niseko and probably Kyoto next February. We haven't set
Nice.
the itinerary out, but I think for anybody like in like music, cars, fashion, like Japan is the hub. Like Tokyo is
Oh
the
yeah.
hub, you know?
No, totally. And like you say fashion, like I'm literally gonna be shopping like every day. Like I'm so excited to just see what the like fashion culture there is like, you know?
Absolutely. I feel like I definitely know DJs that have like there's like stylists that you can like hire when you go over
Yeah.
there that can like take you to all the like best streetwear spots and like cool
Wait, no way.
yeah, like it's definitely a thing. I think Sippy did it. Laura did it when she was out there like a few years ago, and she said honestly, like some of the best money I've spent was like on
Aw.
this individual taking me where I need to go because I feel like it's just so vast. But you're gonna have the best time, and also like
Oh, I know, yeah.
they love EDM out there. They would fuck with your music
Yeah,
so heavy. I
for
think
sure.
everybody's dream is to like go and play just a show in Tokyo.
Yeah. We were trying to set up a show out there while I'm there, but it didn't work out. But
I feel
I'm
like
sure I'll be
you
out
have
there
to.
at some point. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you've been like pumping out music recently. You just had a new single drop, Starlight, right?
hmm
That is
Yeah.
like festival trappy, but still has like the OG kind of KLAXX sound.
Yeah.
And that was on bitbird, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. It was the it was the
Got it.
yeah, that was the third single of my album. I put two singles out before it, and then yeah, this one I kind of just wanted to make it just a like you said, just a big festival anthem. The melody is like straight from like the 2014 like big room, like prog house like era when it was huge, and it kind of just like I wanted it to feel nostalgic in a way, um, like the melody. And then I wanted to also kind of add like my sounds to like the nostalgia in this, I guess. But yeah, I did the song with my friend Yatep, and he's like one of my best friends, and making music with him is like one of the most fun things ever, honestly.
I feel like that's so special when you can kind of collab with your actual friends. And because I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of people, like a lot of artists and producers, become friends through being stuck in a studio together or like saying, hey, like this would like clash together, our sounds vibe, like let's try and make something, and then you become friends. But I feel like if you have that relationship off the get go, like I just had a Bluka and Enzo on, and they just released an album, Nexum, and they kind of talk about that chemistry that happens in the studio, or even if you're on like Discord or Zoom working on a record, you can't really like create that with everybody. So when you do find those artists that you really kind of think the same way and approach things in a way that complement each other, it's really
Totally.
special. And the record goes super hard. And you mentioned kind of that like age of nostalgia. And I feel like that's like the golden word right now, because you either have nostalgic like trance, big room melodies, ARP, synths making their way back into like trap and bass music, drum and bass as well, or you're making like remixes of 90s and early 2000 tracks and
Yeah.
trying to like clear samples. And I feel like you're either one or the other. And especially since you're in an album rollout, which is so exciting. I don't know, it's fucking crazy to me because I feel like any like industry like snob or like industry professional right now is like, don't put out albums, don't do it because it's
Oh my
against the
gosh.
grain,
Yeah.
and it's not what the algo wants, and people aren't gonna really pay attention. But literally the last 4 out of 5 podcast guests I've had on have all just released or are going to be releasing albums. And I kind of just want to be like, fuck you guys. Like it's so doable. And everyone is killing it. Like Skybreak just did Half Blood. Enzo and Bluka just did Nexum. About to have
Mhm.
Bastive on, who just dropped his album.
Oh yeah.
It's album season, which is so exciting. So let's talk about the album, even though we can't go into like crazy details. Is this your first album? When did you know it was time to write an album? All that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first album, my debut album. And I've kind of been toying with the idea of doing an album for almost 4 years now. And I always thought like, okay, this is my sound. I am ready, ever since 4 years ago. And then my sound just keeps changing and changing and changing over the past 4 years of having this idea. So I feel like at the middle of last year was when I was sure I found my sound, which is like every artist's dream, finding your sound. So I was just like, I need to do an album. Like I have so much material that's all cohesive with each other. Um, the sound is the most honest like sound that I've made to myself. Everything I love, it's like all my influences and all of my sounds that I've made, they're all like colliding in one sounds. So I felt like it was like the perfect time to do an album. And I know, like you said, like nobody wants artists to do albums right now. It's like the algorithm or whatever. But like I just think that it's so special when artists do albums because it's a full project, it's not just throwing songs. It's not like a playlist. It's an album. Every album has a story, even if it's not meant to have a story. And I feel like um people could perceive this album how there's no story, but I think there is a story, and it's kind of just like all like colliding together, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that's super sick because I definitely am in a place right now where I feel like over the last 2 years, 3 years, I've made so much different fucking music. And I've been like, no, that's my sound. No, that's my sound. And then something else has happened and like influenced me and like inspired me in a different way, whether that's like discovering new artists or something happening and like building the universe around your project, or you work with a certain vocalist, or you write vocals. Like there's like an infinite amount of things that can affect the type of music you're writing. And I've certainly talked to a lot of artists recently that are in just kind of this like hole where like social media is like trying to like
Oh
dictate
my
maybe the
gosh.
art
Yeah.
that they're making. It's like now I feel like more than ever there is almost this like formula. Everybody's like, no journey's the same. Everybody doesn't go to A to Z the same way, which I still hold and believe to be true. But at the same point in time, I'm like, you really want to streamline your shit, there is a way to do it and there is a way to make it happen. But it is so not by writing an album. But it's just like I talked to Maddie O'Neill the other day and she's written like 4 or 5 albums. And she's like, you just have to make that like conscientious decision if you're in it for the long game and for your fans to really like know who you are and be invested in your project as a whole, because then you can write albums that sound different and they're just still invested in you. So like, how did you know when you like found your sound? I know that's like an introspective question, but like, did you know? Like, was it after a record? Was it after a studio session with somebody? Like, when was it?
I just it kind of all fell into place for me. I was trying to do one genre specifically, and then I would hop to another genre, and then I would hop to another genre, But like, I feel like in my sound, like I like to take all of my sounds, different other sounds, and kind of put them all in one song or put them all in one project. You know what I mean? I'm very big on like big melodies. I think that's part of my sound, and just I like making melodic stuff, but I also like to make like harder dance music too. Um, so I'm kind of just meshing all that in one kind of sound. Um, and I think it's really cool because I can show anyone, like my friends, my family, my sound, my music now, and they're like, "Oh, that's you. That's a KLAXX song." And that's like, I never really had that reaction from my friends or family until last year, and I've been making music for almost 10 years now. So it's, it's like, that's when I knew, I think, like, it's just so surreal to me.
I think it's so much about patience too, is like you can't rush the timeline kind of deal
100%.
that a lot of people want to rush. And it's very easy in this day and age, whether it's AI or YouTube University or mentors or private lessons, to sound like almost anybody you want to. Like, I literally was working on a mix down yesterday and I could not get this one section of a hook to poke out. And I literally exported the AI, drug it into exported the acapella, drug it into ChatGPT and was like, where do I need to be creating these dips that's gonna stop this from happening? And it's literally like, oh, well, this is the peak transient is existing here and you just need to dip it here. And I'm like, I could literally be like, yo, tell me step by step how to create a virtual ride song. Tell me step by step how to create a fast song. And it would do it. So like, we're so in this era where like replication, and even though that's good and it's a great way to like understand things, like it's a great thing to like teach lessons and see if you can explain concepts, compression, saturation, multi-band shit. But also at the same time, it's easier for everybody to just sound like anyone they want. So how are you going to find your own sound? How are you going to be different? And I think a lot of that then turns into like that social media game where it's like, are you going to be this like visionary creative individual? Or are you going to be like a reels guy and like have Big Buddy playing out your shit, or you're gonna do like reels in the studio? And there's so many different ways that you can go about it. But I think that people have like so many levels of experimentation. And I saw a TikTok from Russ the other day, and he was like, this album just went like double platinum, and there's still people every time I post about it that go, when is the record dropping? And it's like this thing where like it's wild the time that we live in, because songs from like so long ago can like pop off, like to see things that just come on resurgent, because like the timeline isn't like chronological. It's like just how you see it as an individual. So I think it's really interesting when you've been invested in somebody's project and you can see them go from like sound to sound to sound to sound, and then be like, it's album time. And I feel like you finding your sound correlates with you releasing your debut album, which is so exciting.
Totally, yeah. And I feel like, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go for it.
I feel like this album like is for like my day one fans, because the day one fans have heard all my different sounds. You know what I mean? So like on this record, they're gonna hear all the sounds basically, but on one record in a very creative, but you like a way that makes sense, which is like was very hard to find, honestly.
Absolutely. And that's so cool because I feel like it takes such an effort to get like a project from like point like 1% to 85% is like a whole feat in itself. And then the 85% to 100% is like 3 times as hard as the first 85%
Yeah.
to make it like be a cohesive album with a vision and a brand and like a whole identity and like taking it back to day one. You have been working with Bitbird for like ever, right? Like for a really
Always since last year.
almost
Always since last year.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I did.
I'm crazy. I feel like I've seen your name FHA with Bitbird for so long. All right, I'm in a time loop.
No, you're good. I feel like my sound, like more recently, the past 2-3 years, has kind of been up that Bitbird alley. So I could see why you thought that. But yeah, I did an EP with them last year, and then now I'm doing the album with them this year. And yeah.
That's so exciting. And like,
Mhm.
yeah, Bitbird, Holo,
Shout out Son Holo.
absolute gems. You
Yeah.
played a collab, like great home for the album. You played a collab with Holo, premiered it at Lost in Dreams this past week,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I
that
know.
was
So let's
so
talk
fun.
about that. Let's talk about the collab. Let's talk about how it happened. Let's talk about the creation process.
Yeah, so I mean, I did the first EP with Bitbird last year, and then I did that without even talking to San. Like, I just released it through their label, and then after the EP dropped, he played one of the songs from the EP, Tunnel Vision, at Lost Lands. So that was kind of like how we first connected. Like, I just DM'd him and said, "Hey, I saw you play my song. Thank you so much." And then a couple months passed after that, and then I lock in the album with his label, and then he lives in LA too. I live in LA also, so I kind of DM'd him and said, "Hey, I'm doing my album with you and Bitbird, and I just wanted to listen to it together because he listened to it once, I think, beforehand, and then so basically I went to his house and we listened to the album, and then he loved it, first of all, which is like high praise, you know. But and then after we listened to the album, like he just like opened his computer and just like started playing guitar, and I was like, "Wait, are we about to make a song right now?" He's like, "Yeah, let's make a song," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is like insane to me." But yeah, we literally, I think I came in with like a very very stripped down idea, and we literally made the song in like one session at his house in like maybe 2 hours, I think. Yeah, it was insane. And then he asked me to come on his tour after that, and I did 3 shows with him, which was like the coolest experience ever. Um, and then yeah, we finished the song up, and it's now gonna be one of my singles on the album, which is like such a full circle moment because I used to listen to San when I first started making music in like 2015. So
Son's legendary. Son like
he's a legend.
existed and like came up in that was literally talking the other day, like golden era of dance music, like the
Mhm.
2013, 14, 15, 16 kind of
16 was like a crazy year
the
for dance music.
SoundCloud era,
Yep.
you know, like where it would
Yeah.
literally like Lose the Child would drop a remix or like Son would drop Rise and it's like got like 3 million plays in 20 hours and you're playing Coachella in like 5 months kind of deal. Like that just doesn't happen in our timeline anymore. And I feel like everyone who's in their like mid to late 20s looks back on that time because they were like graduating high school, going to college, like so many pivotal moments in your life, going to your first music festivals. And that's when I came across Son and like that's when I was like, damn, like this is crazy. Like this is like beautiful music. And I love, love, love. Like I feel like every good artist can reinvent themselves like in so many different ways. But what he's done with the wholesome rhythm era, I'm like such a big fucking fan of. I'm like, honestly, it kind of fucking slaps. Like it's such like a like still feel good, but like goes hard kind of.
Yeah.
And I feel like you were perfect to support that type of sound on the tour? And like, how was the tour? Where did you play?
It was amazing. I did San Diego, Houston, and Las Vegas. All three shows were amazing on their own. San Diego was like hometown show for me. I'm from San Diego, so that's always like special playing there. And like he like sold all three shows out, so it was amazing.
That's incredible. And so you're in LA now, but you were originally from San Diego. How long have you been in LA?
Yeah, I've been here since 2015 when I moved up here. I went to Icon Collective, a music school in LA,
Rip,
and
rip, rip.
I know RIP.
Gosh. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, and then ever since I finished that, I've just been up here in LA ever since. Just kind of living the music life, I guess.
Love that. So yeah, you're literally on a decade. You've officially been in LA a decade.
In October, it'll be a decade
October?
exactly. Yeah,
Gosh, yeah, you're
pretty
really
crazy.
close to that
Yeah.
10-year mark. Okay, so you went to Icon. Gosh, yeah, it's really sad because there's obviously other schools that are production, heavy,
Yeah.
but and like music engineering heavy, but no one quite did it like them, and no artists really came out of that school like the artists that came out of Icon, and
Yeah.
and just went on to completely take over dance music in general and are literally still like pillar artists of our scene. Like Slander, Sullivan Kane. Like there were so many, right? Like
There's too many to name. Yeah.
Hulu, Sully, like so many individuals. It's quite incredible. And so did you attend the school in 2015? That's why you moved up here?
I did, yeah. So I moved up like a couple months early, and then I went in 2016, and yeah, it was one of the craziest experiences ever. I've never, because I had been producing for about a year before I went, and but just being surrounded by every single person at the school was doing the same shit as me. It was like I've never been surrounded by so many people that have the same passion. Like we kind of just would bounce ideas off each other, learn from each other, and it was just like I've never been part of something like that before, and it was one of the craziest experiences ever.
It's incredible because it's like the polar opposite of how most individuals decide to start like climbing this ladder because it can feel really isolating. Like you obviously have your producer homies and stuff like that, but nowhere near do you have like a certain amount of people who are all striving for the same goal, who are all just trying to figure it out, and then having like professors and mentors and like artists that are really doing it in the real world, and the fact that you're in LA, so you have access to studios, industry professionals, people from Insomniac, like everybody under the sun that can come in and kind of give their 2 cents. I've heard nothing but really positive things from anyone who's attended that school, but it also is so much like what you make out of it. Like you could go there and graduate and like not do shit, or you could go there and take advantage of everything and keep your network and like start playing
Yep.
shows and music, and they kind of give you everything you need, but you still have to go and like get it done kind of deal.
You gotta apply yourself for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, I I can't I can't count how many fingers, like how many times I was like wanting to just go home like after class and just like be like isolated or whatever. But like I would always find myself just hanging out at school or hanging out with my classmates outside of like class and just learning from them, hanging out, talking music, showing music to like your peers. It's like I probably learned just as much from my peers as I did in the actual classes.
That's incredible because I feel like that's like the collegiate experience, whether you're like at a traditional university or but
Yeah.
it's like so much of like what happens outside of the rooms is like what shapes you and like the mistakes you make. And like it's this weird interim period of your life. But I do feel like when everyone is concentrated on the same craft, because it is an art at the end of the day, there's like a camaraderie amongst everybody. And it seems like the
Totally.
Stoic were awesome. I've met some of the professors and some people used to go and like speak at their open hours, like things. And it was just, it's really cool. So that's cool that you had such an awesome experience. And like, what was it like kind of growing up and kind of seeing your dream come a bit closer to you, but also growing alongside like LA culture, dance music? Like, was it just like a crazy thing to be able to kind of go to school during the day and then like witness it, and then at night, like go and network and go to shows and go to Hard Summer and like be a part of like what LA really has to offer for dance music?
Yeah, it was cool because I've lived in San Diego my whole life up until 18 years old. So like from San Diego to LA, just the pace of life is so much faster. Like I went to 4-year university in San Diego for 1 year and then I dropped out. And like after class in 4-year university, I would just go back home, sit in my room, and not really do anything else. I wouldn't really go out, do anything. But here, you go to class and then you're in LA. Like
Yeah.
you can go to, oh, there's a show on Tuesday night in Hollywood. There's like a party and people are DJing there. You can go DJ like at night, You didn't have that in San Diego at all. So like the pace of life was a lot faster for me. And I think throwing myself into that was like a big like what's the word? It was a big reason why I was able to kind of propel myself forward.
100%, because
Yeah.
you're kind of living and breathing it in a way where you're preparing yourself for honestly kind of what touring is. It's
Yeah.
really funny because I go through these like this has been the infinite kind of pattern of my project is I will get really busy with touring for like 6 weeks and then I'll have nothing for like a month or two and then I'll get busy again and I'll have nothing, and like the the way that you have to like kick your body into gear to like be very like proactive and like manage your time and like be on top of shit and then also be like able to step into a performative role is not something that comes easy for most people. It's a worked
Not at all.
it's a
Yeah, for sure.
set that you have to be like determined to hone, just like you being in Ableton and honing your craft. Like it's a totally different like way of life. So I feel like being in a city, especially like LA, is you take advantage of everything and you just kind of go, go, go. And I think the people who did that came out of that school and are like on like the same track as you are, or like doing other things in music in like a professional capacity, which is super, super sick. And now it's kind of crazy because it's like at the 10-year mark, you're going to be releasing your first album, which I don't think is a bad timeline because most people,
Yeah,
most
not at all.
projects never even get to that point. So I want to jump right back into the album. So you've had 3 singles come off the album and we've got a few more coming up, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Two more singles to be exact.
Okay, that's so exciting. And we have an upcoming collab with Holo, which we're all going to be super excited about. Let's talk about your inspirations for the album, like musically and artistically, that kind of drove you not only to like find your sound from like your past discography, but also like artists that are like killing it right now that may have had an influence on the stuff that you're really trying to get played out at festivals and in clubs and stuff like that.
Totally, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I'd like to include this. I'm very, very, very heavily influenced by like indie rock, alternative rock, um, and just kind of that whole world, like indie pop too. Like artists like the 1975, just the way they write their songs. I try to incorporate that inspiration for sure. What else? I've been listening to a lot of like hyper pop and like pop music lately.
Mhm.
Like guys like Stu Hollis, Jane Remover, um, like Eric DOA, Glaive, kind of that sounds. They're very incredible artists and even better like producers too. So just the production I've kind of tried to like incorporate too. And I'm actually also singing on a couple of the songs too. So I've kind of I've kind of grabbed that inspiration of like producers singing on their songs to like into my album, I guess.
Is this the first time you sang on your records?
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
I sang on the first 2 singles, and then there's, like, 3 more songs on the album that I'm singing on also.
Oh, that's so sick. Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's a huge, like, step, especially in, like, dance music, but you won a totally the indie alt card is not something I expected you to say. That was, like, left field. I was like, "Okay, sweet," 'cause that's the world
Yeah.
I love to live in, and it does make sense with hyperpop because a lot of those groups are incredible producers, and then they
Yep.
sing on everything because 'cause they've got all of their shit so processed to the end of time. I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't have to have a great singing voice with the
You
technology that we
don't.
have today to, like,
You do
go
not.
in and just, like, destroy your voice and make it, like, almost a synth in its own way instead
Mhm.
of it being, like, a vocal element, pop vocal kinda, blaring way, like, it can fit into the mix of the song.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like, shout out Autotune, first of
Shout
all.
out to
Shout out Autotune, like, all the vocal effects, it's an artistry in its own, you know? And it's also, like, you can do so many creative things with your voice, you know? Um, Vocal chops, like, everyone's done vocal chops in their production, you know? It's like, the voice is its own instrument, is what I tell a lot of people, so, yeah, I like to incorporate that now in my music.
I feel like the Antares, the vocal product plugins, I don't know if
Yeah,
you use them. I
yeah,
rely on those guys so heavily because
100%.
it's like one industry standard, but also like just the way that you can shape your voice. Like Pauline Hare is like somebody who I really, really enjoy her vocal production and the way that like her voice is like shaped on a lot of her tracks because it's not like this like I'm a pop singer coming in to sing. I mean, same thing. It's like looking like Alison Wonderland, like people who like kind of use their voice. Nina Geraci on her new album that fucking
Yep.
slaps. Like,
So
like
good.
it's so good.
It's so good.
It is such. I'm trying to get her to come on the podcast, and I'm hoping we get that across the finish line because I just want to talk about the album. But like the way that she uses her voice to be like this crowd chant kind of deal. It's
Yep.
like these epic songs, or you can like dwindle it down to one thing and destroy it in auto tune, or use Melodyne and then process the shit out of it. And it like in the world of dance music, or just like distorted pop. I mean, you even look to like Charlie XCX's last like studio album, and you look at like the production on that. Crash.
So good.
It's
So
still
good.
so heavily dance influenced, and like it's
Yeah.
possible to do it anywhere, and it's very cool to see how dance music and like festival culture and like while it has maybe provided a little bit down of a downfall to the actual caliber of art, the expansion of art and like the way that we've always approached things and it making its way into like T-Pain wanting to fucking produce dubstep.
Literally, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
It's so crazy, but it's great for, like, the growth of just, like, EDM in general, and it's
100%.
great. Very excited to see it happening, and with the singles that you've decided to put out for the album, what goes into the process of, like, why you chose these singles?
Well, so for the first single, Safe Space, I wanted to have my vocal on it. So I kind of it's like one of the better like vocal performances for me. So I wanted that to be the first single. And like just in the like the first in the intro of the song's first 16 bars, it's just like a straight like indie rock, like um kind of like super epic, like four on the floor, like opening, just straight out the gate. So it's like I kind of wanted it to be like a kind of like a statement song, like this is my sound, like bang, like here it is. So I kind of that was the thought process for the first single, and then the second single, Can't Come Down. I kind of wanted it to be just like a super hard, like melodic trap song, basically for the second one. So that's like it's like it has your like future bass like saws, like super big saws, but there's like very aggressive, like hard trap drums and like the melody too. Like I feel like just kind of what's it called? Kind of introducing that sound and like the big melodies and everything. I wanted to do that for the second single. And then the third single, Starlight, I just wanted to put out a festival like song.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's pretty much it. And then the next two are You'll Have to Wait, I guess.
Yes, but very excited. Very, very exciting next two singles, and they are fucking sick. So I'm excited for everybody to hear them, and the collabs on
Yes.
the way, and that's very exciting. Is there anything else maybe about the album that you wanted to share with anybody listening?
Um, I just I just hope people give it a chance. I put a lot of work into it. It's like my whole life basically. I put into this album. I'm also like taking a risk, as most people probably see it as doing an album. But yeah, I just hope people resonate with the music and the story, I guess. And the production and the songwriting and everything. Hope people resonate with it, and I hope people um play that shit on repeat, honestly.
I'm super excited for you to be able to reveal more about the album as the months continue on. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that story?
Yeah, totally. I I I told you the album name, but I can't say it. But
That's okay.
basically, the story behind the album is kind of all of my sounds in past years, all my inspirations colliding into one product, I guess. Um, and I guess what what else? I guess that's it.
I'm excited.
That's
I
yeah.
like the little pun. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a sick album. It's a very lovely listen. And to anybody who's listening who like is maybe struggling to find their sound or getting impatient with the process and the journey on a whole, or is debating on whether they know it's the right time to write an album, are there any pieces of advice maybe you could give to that individual?
I would say if you can listen to your music on downtime and not hate it, that's when you know that's the time to like really be serious about that sound. I've been through like so many periods of my like production career where like I would listen to it the next day and like fucking hate it. And then I would make something and then love it. And then a month later I hate it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you can resonate with this. Anytime I put out a song, like it's out in the world, you know, it's on Spotify, Apple Music and everything. But you listen to it and you're like, oh, this sucks, or I hate this now. Like, you know, like I feel like if you can listen to your music and genuinely, wholeheartedly enjoy it months later, years later, that's when you know you found your sound, you know? And like I feel like um also you have to love what you're making too. You can't like I've been through times where I wasn't making something that I genuinely loved. You have to enjoy making it. You have to love listening to it, and the whole process of making it you have to love too. And I feel like once you have all those boxes checked, that's when you know you I found your sound, I guess.
You have to love it for you. And I liked you saying that because
Mhm.
it's a lot. It's so easy now to let people dictate what's hot and what's in and what you know other people will like. But if you don't like making that, this is like the pot calling the kettle black because I've so done that shit. I think every producer has at one point.
Absolutely.
Like, if you don't like making it, you are gonna end up hating it because it's such a time commitment to all of the intricacies and just the writing process in general, that if you don't enjoy doing it, you're not gonna get it done quickly, or you're not gonna finish it at all, or you're gonna finish it with, like, a gun to your head, put it out, and then you're not it doesn't even matter what happens to it, you're still not gonna be happy that you
Yep.
and I think every producer
Yeah.
has to do like a number of EPs, singles, or whatever, where they're like letting all of these other voices get in your head for you to finally go. Like, I literally just finished a remix and I'm like in this weird sound kind of like change again. And I was so fucking gassed on this remix. And then like the last 2 weeks, I've been kind of mixing it down. I let my ears rest last night. I put it in the car this morning. And I was like, I don't even care if anybody hated it. Like, this is so sick. And I feel like that's how I haven't felt that way in a long time. So I was like, this is the feeling. Like, this is how you've got to feel if there's 1 billion artists making music and 100 million songs getting uploaded to Spotify every day. Like, if you don't love what you're doing, like, you need to fix it. Kind of
It's not worth it. It's not even worth it.
It's not even worth it. Like, it's so not even worth it. So that's so exciting. And I appreciate those pieces of advice because it's so true. And that's when you kind of like know. Cause it's also like that's when you're like, I can take on a whole year or more than a year of like intricacies writing these records because that's what you're going to be dedicated to in and out every week, every day. So if you hate it, don't put yourself through that. Do not put yourself through that, you know? But okay, sweet. I'm super excited for the album. You just finished off tour with Holo and you have a lot more music coming out for the rest of the year. Yeah, I'm pumped for the album. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I can't wait to hear it. Thank you so much.